Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. To some, the sport of fishing is considered just a pastime, an ancient way of harvesting food from rivers and streams, lakes, and ponds. But this is also a framework for life and so much more than a pastime. Yes, at first blush, it is a goal-oriented endeavor with obvious scoring metrics such as biggest fish or most fish caught that could lead one to categorize this as just another competitive sport or pastime. However, when one considers the way of fishing, there are three aspects that set fishing apart from just a mere pastime. First, it is fun and all-inclusive. Just about everyone can enjoy some aspect of fishing. Second, it embodies all components of the fundamental skills of life, and thus is a tremendous vehicle for teaching. And lastly, it raises the awareness of man's relationship with the environment. I will briefly expand upon these three attributes. First, participation in fishing can span across the ages and the sexes to accommodate the individual's capacity for enjoyment. To understand the broad appeal across all ages, you have to understand that fishing is not just the mere casting and retrieval of fish. It's the entire adventure or expedition that's wrapped around the task of fishing. It's the trip to the park with a bobber and worms, or it's the backwoods expedition with a fly rod, or a day at the beach with a surf rod. For young people, the fishing worms alone can be fascinating. As a parent with 3 children, at one time the ages of 6, 4, and 2, I found that we could always end up at a lake or a pond, and everyone would be fully engaged, whether it was fishing, skipping stones, catching crayfish, or just along for the paddle. This is all with the understanding that some are born fishermen and some are not. 2 of my 3 children were not. However, that did not preclude them from having a lot of fun on these adventures. My youngest one, though, was a fisherman. That is to say that when he was very young, and I would get home from work, he would go into the garage and point up at the wall at the fishing holes as an indication it was time to go down to the pond and do some fishing. And we did. Regardless of who was born a fisherman or not, the participation by the entire family in many outings provided shared experiences, triumphs, and tribulations that we will always remember. On the second point, many people at least are familiar with the title of the book, All I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. That is sharing, being kind to one another, cleaning up after themselves, and living a balanced life of work, play, and learning. I maintain that fishing not only covers these basics, but being task-oriented easily provides a framework for all aspects of project management, from planning and preparation to cleanup. This is a key talent for success in just about all aspects of life. Fishing also naturally incorporates mentorship by family members that span generations, adding much needed wisdom to go along with our abundance of knowledge. Not to mention the inclusion of more exciting subjects such as first aid as needed, and survival skills, and simple lessons in life and death, whether it is the demise of the worm for the fish's dinner or the demise of the fish for the fisherman's dinner. These themes tend to enter into thought and discussion. There are times when quiet and stillness exist until a question rises like a fish to the surface of the water. And lastly, as the pace and the nature of the sport lends itself at times to quiet meditation, the fishermen cannot help but take note of the environment and the ecosystem that they are a part of. Fishing puts man as a key player in the ecosystem in which he lives. This is vitally important because it provides first-hand sampling of pollution, urban sprawl, and general health of watersheds and waterways. Now, the context of this is critical, and that is the conservation and management of fish and fish habitat. The fisherman naturally becomes concerned not only with the putting and the taking of fish, but in the broader environmental and conservation issues. These attributes of fishing, the broad appeal, the adventuresome learning framework, and the immersive environmental awareness make the sport of fishing so much, much more than just a pastime. Thank you.
May we have the timers report, please?
Mr. Toastmaster, our first speaker, Jack Jackson, 7 minutes, 43 seconds. Our second speaker, Tom Anderson, 5 minutes, 35 seconds, both qualified.
Thank you. I'd like you to vote for the best speaker, and I would also like you to encourage you to use the upper portion of the ballots so that you can provide some feedback to our speakers today.